In this tutorial, we'll be looking at the new JS Interactions feature available in the Storyline AI Assistant. JS Interactions gives AI full access to the Storyline JavaScript API. You may recognize some of the examples in this tutorial from the JS API documentation. I'm going to start with something simple. Make the oval follow the mouse using JS Interactions. Going to go ahead and preview. Note that by using the phrase JS Interactions, I ensure that the AI assistant knows what we're working on. Nice, it's working. We can make changes right here in preview. Since it hid the mouse, I'm going to go ahead and ask it to show the mouse now. On this next one, I'll follow the mouse again, but with easing. Let's take a look. I see it, but the ease is pretty quick. Let's slow it down a bit. Once the JS is ready, the slide automatically restarts. It looks better, but let's slow it way down now by 10 times. Very cool. That's more what I was going for. On this slide, I'll have it make the various graphics move left and right with a parallax effect based on the mouse position. Looks great. Just like with JS animations, you can open up the JS block in the chat to see the code for our trigger. Here, I'm going to ask the AI assistant to connect these 4 sliders to CSS filters: hue, blur, brightness, and contrast. Since JS Interactions can read and write variables and set CSS filters, it makes short work of this task. On this slide, after I click a UFO, I want it to be able to be controlled by the arrow keys. This is probably the most JS we've needed so far, so it takes a moment. Wow, cool. It added a glow on its own. Nice. I notice it selected 1 by default. For demo purposes, I'm going to ask it not to do that. Perfect. Now I have to choose one first before I'm able to control anything with the arrow keys. Let's have this arrow rotate based on the slider 1 variable. Perfect. Just what I was looking for. All right, let's make this arrow point at the mouse. You can really start to see just how many possibilities JS Interactions opens up. Awesome! This is what I wanted. On this slide, I'm going to ask it to make each button cause the oval to animate to one of the rectangles. Because everything is labeled, it should be able to figure out that button A animates to rectangle A, and button B animates to button B, etc. There are so many possibilities. Be sure to try out more complex types of motion, like orbiting objects, and basic physics like gravity. If you're looking for a starting point, the JSAPI reference and story file is a great place to start. Let's take a look at some more advanced examples. Here I have some game elements on a slide. First, I'm going to ask the AI assistant to use its best judgment and make this slide behave like a game. It took around 10 or 15 seconds, but this is what it came up with. Wow, it moves really nicely with the mouse, and the velocity seems to affect the rotation of the ship. It's also respawning the coins. Very cool. I'm going to make it so the ship grows and changes color if 10 coins are collected. Nice. It did a great job just guessing at the kind of thing we might want. Now I'm going to go a little more detailed. You can ask the assistant to help you plan. Let's take a look. I'm going to clear out the chat and do away with the old JS trigger. This time, I'll ask it to help me plan a game and ask me questions to find the best approach. Note, because I cleared the chat, I used the phrase JS interactions again. When AI doesn't have certain information, it can make arbitrary decisions to fill in its knowledge gaps. By going through a simple planning phase, we can get vastly superior results and results that better suit our needs. Here, you can see I'm reviewing the AI assistant's suggestions and questions and carefully answering what seems most important. I'm going to skip ahead a bit. I was able to tell the AI assistant that I wanted to use arrow keys to control the UFO, that I wanted the coins to move around the screen, that when the UFO collects a coin, it should wobble a bit, etc. I instructed it to change the color of the background image when 8 coins are collected. For a real, fully functional game, you could continue to iterate until everything lines up with your desired behavior. In this last example, I have elements on the slide for a tic-tac-toe game. I have X and O shapes, hotspots where the shapes should be placed, win and lose indicators, and a restart button. I'm going to ask the AI assistant to help guide me through the process of making this slide fully interactive. In scanning the result, I see that I have no graphic for a tie, so I'm going to make one. I'll take a little time to thoughtfully respond to most of the questions that the AI assistant is asking me. I know that I want the player to always start the game, and that the player is always X's. And I know I don't want a 2-player game. Rather, I want the computer to just randomly play. I provide some additional information for how the X's and O's show up. I also provide some info for how I want the win, lose, and tie graphics to appear. I want them to fade in and show up on the slide. I make sure the AI assistant knows it doesn't need to track anything with variables. And I give some additional information about how to restart the game. The AI assistant asked what to do if a square is already occupied, so I instruct it to just ignore the click in that scenario. After about 10 or 15 seconds, we're all set. Let's see how it plays. Nice. The random computer behavior makes it very easy to win. I'm going to ask it to make the computer a little harder to play against. I actually don't need to hit preview again when it's ready. It has already restarted the slide and reset everything. As you can see, it's now definitely harder to win against. Let's start the X's and O's off the slide so they aren't just sitting there on the left. I can just keep playing while it's writing the new code. Nice! I got a tie. Great. The pieces are no longer here on the left. That's the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and be sure to refer to our official documentation for more info.